Hello and welcome to this special series on technical writing. So far you have learned why people write at work, how to plan for audience, purpose, scope and medium, and how to conduct research. Now the writing process includes planning, drafting, revising and copy editing. The technical writing process is same as any other genre of writing, an essay, a novel, a journal or a song. However, each genre brings its own challenges. Along with considering audience, purpose and medium, technical writers must spend the early stages carefully planning their writing. Working with technical data requires thinking not only about words but also about graphics and page design. Furthermore, technical writers often work collaboratively. Writing is an act of creativity and often it does not move forward smoothly from one step to the next. Although the overall process does progress logically from planning to writing the finished product, it is a backward and forward process between predictable stages. That is, it is recursive or circular in nature. For example, you plan an article about new city bus routes and begin to write. Then you discover that you overlooked the route in your own neighborhood. You go back again to the research stage and gather more information. Next, you hear about some citizens who are not happy with the proposed routes. You circle back and change your purpose to reflect their discontent. After interviewing a few concerned citizens, you revise the article again. Documents change depending on which stage of the process the writer is in. In some stages, writers expand documents, generating ideas and words without judging their usefulness. During other stages, writers make judgments, cutting some words and keeping others. Now, let us consider one more thing, that writing takes time. Most writers need a certain amount of time to let ideas cook in their heads. The process can be compared to baking bread. You gather ingredients, mix them, knead the dough and place the dough in a warm place to rise. However, you cannot make the dough rise. It rises in its own time because you set the process in motion. Like the bread, your ideas need time to incubate. The other stages take time too. It may take you 2 weeks to conduct research and only 1 day to write a rough draft, but the revising may take another week. When you write, you must allow time for the process. Writing is different for everyone. While the writing process does have stages, what people do in each stage differs from one person to the next. How people feel about the stages differs too. Some people enjoy the pre-writing and planning and dislike the revising. Others enjoy the revising but are frustrated by the planning. Some people let the ideas grow in their heads and write slowly with little revision. Others write many words quickly using many drafts. Now let us talk about free writing. Free writing is writing freely to discover an idea. You write what comes to mind without judging what you have written or worrying about grammar or sentence structure. 3 variations of free writing are open free writing, focused free writing and looping. With open free writing, you write about anything and see where your writing takes you. Your open free writing can finally bring you to a possible topic. With focused free writing, you can choose a topic and freely associate ideas with that topic. With the looping technique, you write for 5 minutes, stop and summarize in a sentence what you have written. Staying focused on the summary sentence, you write again for 5 minutes, stop and summarize. Then you repeat the process until ideas appear. Now let us talk about mapping. We can use cluster mapping to shape your ideas. You can begin with the topic in the middle and allow ideas to radiate from the center, drawing lines to connect related topics. As you list topics, your list will grow into other clusters and generate more ideas for topics. You could then see at a glance the major ideas, their subtopics and the relationship of the subtopics to the major ideas. Now let us talk about outlining. From the cluster map, you can use a tentative outline. This outline is an informal, changeable plan for organizing topics and subtopics. As you outline topics, consider how to organize them. The document type may dictate the organizational pattern. You can use these organizational patterns to suit the document's purposes. Consider the following organizational patterns. Chronological orders for things that must progress from first to last, as in the development of a product or the history of an event. Spatial order for arranging items in space, as in a description of an office, a factory, a landscape design or a home. Cause to effect order or effect to cause order, as in a presentation of reasons for an event or the consequences of an action. Comparing and contrasting, as in the recommendation of one product or action over another. Classifying or breaking something down into parts, as in an analysis of venture feasibility or product usefulness. Problem and solution, as in a definition or an analysis of a problem followed by a workable solution. Other ways to organize data include strategies that meet your reader's need as well as your purpose for writing. General to specific or specific to general. Does your audience need the big picture or the details first? Background before new information. Do the members of your audience need to know how something happens or happened before they accept new information? Familiar to less familiar. Are you presenting your readers with new information following something familiar that will be easier for them to understand? Simplest to most complex or most complex to simplest. Do your readers already understand the complex ideas or do they need to be led to them logically? Most important to least important or least important to most important. Will your audience benefit from reading the most important idea first or last? Consider what headings, short titles in a document that identify a topic you will use and what the final document will look like. A heading is appropriate when you have several paragraphs that relate to a single topic and that will likely come from the outline you wrote. The document type, a report, a resume, a brochure also will dictate your headings. Now that you have a plan and information about your topic, you are ready to write. This part of the writing process is called the drafting and revising stage. Review your audience analysis and purpose for each writing. Keep your audience and purpose in the back of your mind as you draft and revise. Now let us talk about drafting. Drafting is the second stage of the writing process. When drafting, you write the first, second and third or more versions of your document. As soon as you begin to write, you are writing a first draft, an early version of a document that is subject to change. Do not put off writing because you are waiting for that perfect first sentence to come to mind. Just start writing. The order in which you write does not matter. What does matter is the order in which the readers reads. Force a few words until they start to flow. Drafting is like trying new paint. You do not know whether you like the color until you see it on the wall. Let's talk about introduction. While the introduction might not be the first part you write, it is the first part your readers will see. It sets the tone and determines how receptive your readers are to the information you present. Use the introduction to relate to your readers, discuss a situation that you and your readers have in common, hold your readers' attention, give startling statistics or an eye-opening quotation, forecast the topics and information you will cover. Identify questions that are answered in the document, list the questions. Identify the problem to be solved, define the problem. Give the background of the situation, present events that lead to the need for the document or research. Give a research overview, give the major headings, explain where and how the research was conducted. Now, let us talk about the body. As you write, you decide how to support your subtopics in the body of your paper. When thinking about ways to elaborate, explain or prove your points, ask yourself what your readers need. Do they need long or short examples, specific occurrences that happened or could happen, testimonials, real life stories from people who can attest to or support a view, quotations, statements from people who are often authorities on a topic, statistics, numerical data, percentages and or test results to support a view, historical facts, verifiable information researched by credible scholars, financial facts or estimates, financial reports, trends and economic news. Now, we come to the conclusion. Use your conclusion to do what the document type requires. Proposals may need a reminder of the solution. Sales letter may need a call to action. Recommendation may need a summary of key points and a possible decision. A research paper may answer questions posed earlier in the document. Now you come to revising. When you finish drafting, you revise your document. When revising, you read your document and make changes to content, organization and word choice. Use your audience analysis and purpose statement to guide you. Because the content affects the other revision strategies, start with the general content and move to the details. After you print a first draft, put it aside for a while. Come back to the draft at a later time to read it again, to decide what does and does not work. Make notes on the draft. Draw arrows when you see, for example, that paragraph 3 should be next to paragraph 6 and that the example in paragraph 2 should be in paragraph 5. Cross out phrases, sentences and paragraph that can be deleted. How important is an error-free document? In business, a professional image indicates a professional, responsible institution behind the image. In the absence of a person, the document represents a company. The document becomes the face of the company. If the face has smudges and errors, the impression is negative. If the face is clean and attractive, the impression is positive. Therefore, after you have planned, drafted and revised your document, you must take care of the finishing touches by copy editing and publishing your writing. Copy editing means proofreading a document for correction in spelling, grammar and mechanics. Publishing means sending a document to the person or people who need or requested it. Now we come to copy editing. After you have revised for content, organization and word choice, it is time for copy editing, one of the final stages of the writing process. In this stage, you carefully proofread your document and polish it. Use several aids when proofreading for errors. To help catch errors that you may not notice as you read silently, read your draft aloud to catch fragments, grammatical errors and awkward sentences. You also can read the draft backward, starting with the last sentence of the paper and moving towards the beginning. In addition, if you know a good grammarian and speller, ask that person to help you copy edit. You may be surprised at what he or she catches. Today you can use electronic aids for copy editing. Most word processing programs underline misspelled words as you key, alerting you to errors. You can check the spelling and correct it as you key, or you can wait until you finish the document to run the spell checker. The checker will locate misspelled words, flag instances to correct and provide a list of possible corrections. Now we come to publishing. When you have finished copy editing your document, you are ready to publish. In this final stage, make sure the document looks professional, is ready on time, is presented in form your readers needs and uses sources correctly. Print the document on good paper using a high quality printer and print cartridge or toner. To meet your deadline, have the document ready several days ahead of time to allow for mishaps. Maybe the printer is not working, the cartridge is running out of ink, or the power goes out. If you are sending a document to a print shop, know how much time the printer needs. Include any accompanying letters and make sure appropriate people receive copies. For documents that require signatures of others in your organization, as many proposals do, allow adequate time for meeting with and requesting signatures of these busy people. Document your sources using the proper style manual for the discipline. Separate style guides have been developed for fields such as humanities, social sciences, legal sciences, medicine and engineering. Electronic publications, web pages and government publications have their own publishing preferences. Style guides also vary by country, with different publication guidelines for Australian English and Canadian English and of course Indian English. Do not risk plagiarizing your document. When in doubt, check a source. So to summarize, the writing process is a creative act that moves back and forth between predictable stages, requires sufficient time to complete and varies from one person to the next. The first stage of writing process, planning, begins with free writing to generate ideas and moves to shaping to narrow a topic and organize the ideas. The second stage of the writing process is drafting and revising. The process involves writing a draft, analyzing its strengths and weaknesses, and revising the draft. Copy editing includes reading carefully for errors and correcting them. Publishing presents the reader with a final version, a professional looking document complete with sources in the form the reader has specified. I hope this interaction was of some use to you all. Thank you so much for watching.